Baby, keep on turning me up. Yeah. Baby, keep on turning me up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just the so many things you do that keeps on turning me up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep doing that thing you're doing to me. That sweet little thing you're doing to me, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's just the so many things you do that keeps on turning me up. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it makes me want to say, can I see it? Baby, keep on turning me on. Yeah, yeah. Baby, keep on turning me on. Oh, oh.
Good morning.
It's just the don't let it be.
I tried to mess with mic settings today. Hopefully the better. All right, let's take a look and see what we see here. Yeah, it's about what I figured. Broke 4-hour market structure yesterday. I would say that's the loss of a primary upward structure of this range. Or maybe not range, but, the primary upward structure. I mean, I guess if I'm being totally fair, it's only the primary structure of this last leg of price here. Indicating a order flow objective of this low, but I mean, I think you need to be real with yourself. Hitting that low without hitting this low is way less probable. Yeah, so probably time to look for shorts. Hey, can I get a mic check? I was playing with volume settings today, gentlemen. Hoping to make an improvement. I don't know if it worked, but, one can only try. All right, and so with that loss of 4-hour market structure, the nose. There's two primary areas of interest for me for a short. Let me play with a couple time frames in here. Yeah, that's going to be my guy. That 45-minute order block right there is going to be my guy. Mic check good? Hey. Well, maybe people stop complaining about me. Or complaining to me about the mic. Yeah, so, Friday, normally we do like a study session or whatever today, but, which I'm always down to do. But you guys got to let me know what you want to talk about, or I always feel like I'm just wasting my time. Clean this up a bit. Yeah, so looking for failure to clear this high right here. Um, a break above the high, a pullback, a fail to clear the high that is created there for some type of a manipulation above this high, or a structural transition out of here. And I'd be targeting. Oh, really? Do I not have a ray on that? Let's fix that. 59,081. Sucks this Friday because this looks like it has some tight risk reward on it. If you were able to get something right off the top of that, I mean, you'd have a nice risk to reward coming into the bottom alone, let alone getting down to something like that. Essentially, that's the zone I'm looking at shorting. The zone as a whole still provides a 4.34 to the low with an obvious take profit of 62,211. And then, just the more you're able to refine this with market structure, better risk reward you're going to get. Actually, I got to take out an AirPod so I can hear my own voice. Okay, sorry, back. How to spot manipulations and inducements. Sure thing, my man. Sure thing, J Takaoka 01. Oh, and by the way, good morning, Barb, 944. And Aaron, J Takaoka. Inducement. Tell me more about what you have in mind for inducement. Inducement is not something that I often really even think about. So tell me something. Tell me what you have in mind about that. Inducement for me is more like inducement for me would probably look more along the lines of this low having come up near this. And then before it comes back below this low, it's just a random example here, but before it comes back below that low, that it comes up again and then hits into, like, say, for inducement, I'm looking at like supplier demand being induced, and I'd want something along these lines here, where we have not actually hit demand or supply in this case, and then we've come back down. We haven't taken this low out. This is an important fact because if you take this low out significantly and then crawl back up into here, you're looking at a break of structure of this flow of market structure at that point. And you need to be aware of a higher low for a higher high. So for inducement, this is probably about all I even consider when it comes to inducement. And then I'm looking at this as a manipulation above this high right here. Right, I'd be looking at it in that from that perspective right there. And then, for manipulation, there's two things I want you to consider. Let's find a market open here we can talk about. I primarily only trade New York, so I'm going to look for a New York manipulation. There is no. Yeah. So here's a perfect one, right? Here's a perfect one. Yeah, this one's gold, right? So New York opens in this area right here. That was probably not the best tool to use for that. New York market open is around here, and it comes and runs up above this high, runs up above these highs, and then falls to a new low, right? So let's go down on the 1 minute time frame and investigate that. Yeah. So there's a couple circumstances of manipulation in here that I'd like to talk about. Yeah, there's a couple. Let me zoom in here. This is not the example I was looking for, because on open you did come down just slightly beneath the longs that hit prior to open. But here's one thing I want you to look at very specifically is you have a fresh open. Price has come up. It has come back down. It has retested the prior high. And then it has come back up again. This is absolutely the time on every open that I'm worried about manipulation, right? The idea here is you've got higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. People are looking for this trend, right? And that's a fresh open. So this is a direct manipulation right after open. People saw price go up. They saw it come down. They saw it backtest. They saw it go up again. They're going, oh, trend is up for the open, right? And then immediately you see price manipulate. Let's check it from a deviation template perspective. I think it might just be just outside of it, but let's play with this a little bit. Yeah, I don't even have to hop off the 1 minute time frame to see that we don't have a 1 minute close up there, right? So immediately I'm going like, oh, okay, that's looking like a manipulation. You're pulling right back down inside of the range. You have failed to break the high. You were looking to present this trend like this on open, right? And then you manipulate. Then you come right back underneath this low, breaking structure. Now you've got everybody wanting to go short, where all you do is manipulate right back under the market open low to continue structure up. So I would say that is a manipulation event right there, and this is a manipulation event right here. And that was what Wednesday's open, right? So this would be a lot of what we're talking about right here, right? Like this is designed to pull in longs, and this is designed to pull in shorts. And, and also look at this as like you have professional traders that have, that are looking to trade this session, this New York session here. And they're looking to trade that with limit orders, right? Where they can fill larger positions into liquidity pools, right? So they're not, like when the market is opening in this, right here, the market is opening right here. It's like it hasn't really come up to test any of the limit orders, nor has it come down to test any of the limit orders. This is generally that entire concept of an open range, right? Or an open range breakout. So, if we look at the 15, I want to investigate the 15 on this. Where were we? Dude, where'd my drawings go? Oh, here we are, right here. I want to see if this actually coincides with the 15-minute candle or not. Let's clean it up a little bit. Yeah, it does. right? So if you just simply look at orb, you have a manipulation above orb, and you have a manipulation below orb. So that's two areas of manipulations. That's just one area to look at it, right? And then generally speaking, it's let me see what other manipulations we can find here. This one's not going to quite count. I can see in hindsight that it was a manipulation, but I can also see visually that this would exceed a deviation threshold. So that would have been a tough one to trade for me. You're better off waiting for your break of structure. And then you've got market structure forming after your break of structure. What I'd be paying primary attention to is just this upward structure right here. And so if this is your break, then it's logical to look for a higher or a lower high for a lower low, right? Now you see this bullish break to follow, right? And so if this is true, then the order flow objective is here. And if this is true, and that's the order flow objective, then your upward structure should not break bearishly. If anything, it should manipulate below a low to climb to a new high, but it should not break a low. It should not break your primary upward structure if this is going to be the order flow objective. So the moment that you see it break that primary upward structure here, now we're back to looking for our lower high for our lower low again, right? So to me, those are all concepts of manipulation, right? They're all concepts of manipulation. And then you guys know the classic one that I always look for, right? Whenever you can go to any time frame, you can find it 1,000 times. In the sense of just not clearing the deviation threshold, right? Like that is a manipulative event right there, and the order flow objective is to take out the low that created it. This is a manipulation event right here, and the order flow objective is to take out the high that created it. Yeah, like that. I think that's what I have to add to as far as looking at manipulation. Now, here's another one I would encourage you to pay attention for. I'm trying to find a picture perfect example, though it's probably better to use an example that isn't picture perfect. I found one. Yeah, almost positive I found one here. Yeah. This is a good example. This is a good example regardless. There's actually multiple examples in here. So what are we on the 4 hour? Let me rewind this. So we can use some lower time frames in this area. Let's drop to the 15. So it's going to be closer to the 10 or 5. Maybe it's 5. All right, so we have right here we were cracking a swingish high, right? So whenever you see that happening, you're taking out like a swing like high, and what do we want to happen here? We want to see an initiation and a mitigation continuation, right? So as it pulls up from here to its new high, and then it pulls back for its mitigation, and it goes for its continuation, this is absolutely where we need to be looking for a manipulation every time, right? Now, you see a couple candle body closes up there, but honestly, if we drop down to the 1 minute, I think we're going to see something even different. Yeah, there it is. So you have another range here. You have initiated up, you have pulled back, and then you fail to clear the next high. And then you break the low that created the high. And so at that point, we got a problem. The order flow objective is now here. And the only reason that it wouldn't hit here is if you see that the primary structure on the down breaks bullishly. So this shouldn't happen, right? That shouldn't happen unless it's just a slight manipulation, like a shallow SFP of that. That shouldn't happen. The moment that you see something like this occur, you're in trouble. Did it come for the protected high? It even came for the protected high there. Cool. All right, now we are in the territory of where another manipulation is about to occur. Now we have this range of price here. Now we're dealing with less than 1 minute market structure at this point, but price comes up. It's like 30-second structure comes down, comes up, fails to clear that high, breaks the low that created it. Order flow objective at that point is here or here. And so that would be another manipulation. So really what I'm trying to drive home here is when price manipulates, what it will typically do is it will typically run up out of the range, pull back, and directly fill that high. Run up out of the range, pull back, and directly fill that high. Okay, cool. So that was an example, a multi-time frame example of this. Now let's get back to the 2 hour or so. So that was a multi-time frame example of the manipulation of this range, right? And then we even came back and then here's that entire concept on a higher time frame, right? You initiate, mitigate, you're looking for continuation, right? And what does it do? It immediately fills that high. And so it's happening multiple times in here. You were able to spot multiple manipulative events as all of this was occurring. As you were trying to breach out of this range, we spotted manipulation in here, we spotted manipulation in here, we come back up, we manipulate again. And so, when you start taking out lows like this, or this, now we're looking at order flow objectives that are associated with this range of price. And that order flow objective would be here. Now, it didn't hit it, right? It didn't hit it. We got some valid shorts out of the area that would have paid some money, but it didn't hit its ultimate order flow objective. Let's go see if we can figure out why. I don't know if I'll be able to get it down to a single candle perspective. This is the closest, but it violates rules because these candles touch. Is it on a lower time frame? Am I missing it still? It's this candle right here. And it is a green candle. But what does it represent, right? It represents all the things that demand needs to represent. It represents a local structure flip on lower time frames, call it 1 minute, 5 minute, whatever. There's a structure flip right here. It has an inefficiency that comes up out of it, followed by another inefficient candle breaking yet another piece of market structure and touching yet another high. So there is demand here. What else does it represent? It also represents your primary upward structure from the low. That's where that line of structure would break bearishly. So as price comes back down to interact with this point, you see both a manipulation above the high that created this low, and then a manipulation below the low that created that high. And so once you see, so like even though we were aiming for this low, what shouldn't happen? You should not break your primary downward structure bullishly. And you also have to continue to break your downward structure bearishly, which we did not do here, right? So I would say you have, 2 more cases of manipulation here. That one occurred into supply. And this one was just a range. This one was just a range deviation. Let's get back down to some lower time frames. I want to investigate this on some lower time frames. I'm sorry, I'm backlogged on chat. I could see you guys talking over there, but trying to finish up some of this yapping. A little bit of little complicated to trade here. But you have we got stuff to talk about, right? So we come down below this low. We're not really breaking deviation threshold here. We can see that on the higher time frames. I regret toggling time frames already. Let me go back to the 30. And so you see what would have presented to me like another manipulation event, right? In which you have not broken your downward structure bullishly. Right? That's not a bullish break. And so you should your order flow objective at this point in time would be here for me, but what do we see prior to that? We see the downward structure break bullishly. And so the moment that that downward structure starts to break bullishly like that, obviously the order flow objective is to take out this high right here. But now you have to really put credence to the fact that this manipulation, the order flow objective was only to reach another manipulation for a further expansion upwards. Because you should not see this bullish break and a tackle of that high and this low holding if this was ever going to be the order flow objective, right? So hopefully that helps a little bit. Good morning, Luke Zeldania, Jason. Yep, I haven't said good morning to you yet. Yes, exactly that. I was thinking fake outs, either where there's going to be a large breakout to the upside or downside, then a reversal of the real move, usually just before New York market open. Yeah, I tend to look at them just on market open, and the reason for that is I always think of hopefully this is in the camera. I always think of like coming into market open, you have limit orders above you, you have limit orders below you. You do not know who is right yet. And that's the whole concept of waiting for orb to flesh out, right? I just stopped on that sweep right there. Damn it. One of the ones that I was going through, because this is all historical price action, right? I don't think we're looking at anything live. Yeah, we were on replay. We were on replay. We'll get back over to here. And so let's see, market's open now, right? It's Friday. Let's take a look, right? Let's take a look. So here's an example of, now it's Friday. I don't like to trade Fridays, right? But here's a great example of all the principles that we were just going through, right? Where you have let me get a closer look at these lows here. Now, I don't like that. I'm on the Bybit chart. It's probably worth checking Binance to see if you have a better purge of this low. But those look like equal lows to me. That doesn't look like a good purge of that low. We have a market. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about, can I make a case that the downward structure has already broke bullishly? Right, so if I'm looking at downwards structure, let's go ahead and include that guy. can I make the case that that downward structure has already broke bullishly? And those are equal lows down there. I have a hard time making that case. I have a hard time making that case that we have formed a strong low relative to here and here. I have a hard time making that case because those look like equal lows to me. So anyways, let's get back to the open. Right, so as far as the open is gone, we really have not come down to test any of the lower limit orders or demand, right? We haven't done that. Instead, we have come up to test orders above this high. And so if we pull back down and then pull back up and cannot clear this high bullishly as we are hitting supply, and then come back down and break the low that created this high, then I would be looking to collapse from here. What about the range we had from 60K low? We deviated over 25% above the high, but it clearly returned to the range. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. Maybe we'll go jack up the Coinbase chart here a little bit. Top out to like an 8-hour. All right, so I'm going to say you're probably looking at it from the perspective of maybe this being the range and that being the deviation threshold. Cool. Not bad. We can see that it cleared it, right? We can see that we're outside a deviation threshold. Can we look at a more local range and find a deviation threshold that makes sense there? Let's take a look. I think we're going to run into the same problem though. Yeah, because it'd be this range here. And we're up out of that as well, right? So I think this is less of a deviation above this range of price and more, it's less of it. Now, to me, the real answer for this question here was on the Tether chart and not the Bitcoin chart. To me, that was where the real answer here lied. Let me see something here. Let me play around with this a little bit. Okay, so if this is our original range of price and we don't clear the deviation threshold and we come back up, then we extend this range of price. What the hell happened here? Oh, this is the thing I'm looking for. Then we extend that range of price up. And now we're starting to see failure inside of the deviation threshold. So that's probably one thing. This is something that I don't typically talk about enough. Now that I'm explaining this, I'm going, I probably just lost some people. But if we look at this, right, there's ranges extend themselves all the time. And so when I look at this and I go, okay, so we have not exceeded deviation threshold here. And then we come back down and we come back up. I'm inclined to, I keep grabbing the wrong tool. I'm inclined to extend my range high to here. And now we're starting to see that, but really on the Tether chart, which is why I was harping about that Tether chart so much. I think I posted something like, "Please don't fade this Tether chart." We had a different interaction at that point in time. It was this low. Yeah, it was this. It was here. It was the deviation below that. Now we did end up crawling back up here quite a bit and then down again, but it was the failure to break this low right here that had me sussed out on the Tether chart. And so I was saying, hey, really pay attention to this range. Do not fade this range on the Tether chart. And so I think the answers were a little bit more clear over there. Yeah, I can extend a range without a retracement to the 50% line. Let's go back and look at it and see if we can just think through it a little bit more with a little bit better logic. No, I wanted that Coinbase chart. Oh, Tokyo is the one that did it. What a bunch of dweebs. This was a hard one to trade, man. This was a hard one to trade. As much as I wanted to swing short this thing, because we all know I was looking for it, right? As much as I wanted to swing short this thing, this was a tough one for me. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, because your primary structure was. Let's not draw it all in. Let's save some time. Your primary structure was here, right? Whatever, get up there, bro, get up there. You all get the point. So now we're looking at this range of price. And we're seeing that all we did was nip below that, which presents a lot like a deviation of the low for a bullish expansion back to the high. We have two problems here that I want to encourage everybody to pay attention to. Bro. Number one, we formed a bad low. Number two, price should have come above this high. Right? You should have returned to break this high. So now we need to be paying close as we're approaching this high. We need to be paying close attention to the primary upwards structure on the way to the high, which is going to be on some sort of a lower time frame. Let's drop down to the 30. Oh, I should have used the rewind tool. Let me go back to the 12-hour. And I was also getting into super vacation mode here too. Yeah, so this low here, this low should hold. It should only have like an SFP of it, some shallow SFP of it. Let me use a different drawing tool. Bro. You should have seen just a shallow deviation of this and then a continuation up to this high. Why am I? But wait, there's this. Oh, no. Yeah, this is the event, right? With your bearish removal of liquidity here, and then your break of this low, that should be in that should be not quite yet. None of this should be happening, okay? This is really what I'm trying to if this was a deviation here to expand back to this high, break this high, and then run back up to this high, then we should not see price behaving the way that it behaved in here. You have a bearish removal of liquidity right here, followed by it's hard to call it a break, right? It's hard to call it a break, but you're still in deviation threshold. I'm not gonna say you aren't, but if this range is now deviating itself, what should we see, right? We should see structure breaking. We should see supply failing. Those are the kind of things that we should see if this is going to expand back up through the range, right? We should see this high breaking. We should see this supply failing. As a matter of fact, what we should probably see is a break of this high, that supply working only to retest demand to climb further back up. It didn't do that, right? What did it do instead? It SFP'd that high, manipulated directly above it, which indicates that your order flow objective is this low. and you've now confirmed that you did break your primary upward structure, right? Because if you did not break this bearishly, well, then you would have received a bullish break on the lower time frame here, but instead you received an SFP of this high on your lower time frames, breaking the low that created that high. None of that should be happening if this was just meant to be a deviation of this low. So at this point in time right here, specifically after the break, you're going, oh yes, we are breaking primary upward structure and we are coming for this low, right? Now, if you're coming for this low, right? If you're coming for that low, then, sure, it could SFP. It could SFP this low and then return to the high of this range. And it could break that high and it could come back up here. Sure, yes. But obviously it hit the low and grenaded below it. Now you are breaking your primary upwards structure, right? Your primary upward structure has officially broken, providing you an order flow expectation of 60K. So this is now the target at this point in time on the chart, in my opinion. Now that was like, what day was this, right? That was Thursday, May 26th, right? Or May 28th, right? So on Thursday, I'm typically not really looking for trades. On Friday, I'm really not looking for trades. And on Monday, I'm on my way to Thailand, right? So let's see where the trade of all trades would have been had if you didn't take this trade here. To me, this was probably the single greatest risk to reward swing trade that the chart presented to the 60K low. Wherever that was down there, right? That was like the trade. And I missed it. Whatever, I missed it, right? What did it provide after that? I don't even remember. So I wasn't really paying attention. Man, not a ton to work with in there. Really not a ton to work with in there. You had a 30-minute OB right here that we tagged. But we never really SFP'd that again. Let's look at sessions in here. Yeah, pretty tough, man. Pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty tough. Because you don't really have, after this here, you don't have, I mean, I guess you did break some market structure on the lower time frame here-ish. It's tough. That was messy. That was messy. And I don't think it really gave hardly anything to work with after that, because now you're just into capitulation at this point. Yeah, man, really tough. Super tough. So don't beat yourself up too much on that, man. Personal opinion, I wouldn't beat yourself up too much on that, because yeah, tough one, man. That's a tough one. I missed it. You know what I mean? I never took a look to see how ETH handled itself throughout that event. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Where you at, dude? Yeah, ETH was pretty lame up there too. It was pretty lame. I mean, like this would have been, I think this was the zone I was looking for. But you never really got it, did you? The most you got was an SFP off of this high. And then yeah, and it's just messy in here, man. It's messy because it's like you don't really break the low that created it. Um, it's messy, man, messy. And then, by the time you do break that low, and if you were responsible, and like I don't know. I mean, to me, the responsible thing would have been, by the time you're down here, I wouldn't have had any risk left in this. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have had any risk left in that. That would have been bare minimum stop loss break even and already having take profit. It would have snapped you out of it. You'd have come back down. You would have gotten more bullish structure. You'd have came back up. You'd have broke this. This would have probably been a stop out and break even as well. This here was probably your only next great opportunity. Was that right there? But then the problem is that you'd have had to ape in on the break because you never got a mitigation, right? Like that never got mitigated. I suppose there was probably something here. This is probably your next best opportunity here. It was like that little supply block right there. But it was rough, man. It was rough. I don't blame anybody. Good morning, Bearded Mike Mac and Joe Fizz and anybody else I missed, man. Anybody else I missed. Let's get back over to Bitcoin. Let's take off replay. Oh, no, we're already here. Let's get all these brushes out of the way. So what do we have here? We have a break of bullish structure. We have poor lows. We have higher high, higher low, higher high. We would still expect a mitigation of. I think we should still. Apparently, I can't draw straight today, so bear with me. I think we should still expect a mitigation of demand. For an attempt at that high, I'm still looking for failure at this high, ideally with an interaction of supply. And at this point, what would be best is to actually have structure on the way up to that high that fails. It's Friday. I hate trading on Fridays. I hate trading on the weekends. I don't like it. I think it's because I exclusively apply smart money concepts to my trading, and smart money doesn't typically trade in these windows. So, but I mean, for right now, I would be looking at some mitigation of demand, some attempt to return that high, and I'd be looking for failure in that high, and I'd be looking to pull that down to this low. Let's go out some higher time frames. Let's take a look to the left and see if there's anything underneath that low that makes any sense to hold us up. And I'm going to go with a no. But that's why, I guess never mind. That's why we're targeting all the way down to there anyway. I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little worried. You guys know I was looking at this accumulation, the potential of an accumulation model developing here. Let's get back to that guy. Blank. Yeah, where are blank? We got to remove some drawings on this thing. I don't think we need that or 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 that. Let's get rid of this stuff. Yeah, here we go. Cool. Man, I have to. So here's I'm gonna give you my concern. My concern is if I'm right about what's going to happen on open, or in the coming days, I think we might make our way back down to this low in what would be, in my opinion, too soon. Too soon. I think for this to develop, and because to hit this low again would be the last opportunity for your Model 1 accumulation to form. And that tap would need to be the spring that took you to the sign of strength. I don't think this is too soon. It's too soon to come down here. It's just too soon. I think the healthy thing is to get Bitcoin back up into areas like this prior to coming back down to that low again, and a larger time horizon, right? A much larger time horizon. Yeah, like another 100 days, like a much larger time horizon. It worries me that price seems to be aiming at that low again already. That is concerning to me. That is concerning to me. Yep, sure is. But, I don't get to pick what price does. I only get to choose how I react to it. Oh, yeah, it's a terrible low. Oh, that's not the low I'm looking for. This low. Bruh. It's not a good low. It's really not a good low. No, it's unbelievable. It's not a good low. No. God, no, it's not a good low. It's got problems. All right, let's see. Do time check, 7:20. I got a little bit of time left. Not a lot of time left, but I do have a little bit of time left. Anybody got anything else they want to take a look at? I kind of want to take a look at some traditional assets. I think I'm gonna be putting a lot more. I don't know if anybody saw the PDF I posted yesterday, but I think I'm gonna be really testing out some TradFi markets and looking to leverage trade those with Tether. Just because here, I'll tell you why. I'll give you my why. It's a really easy why. Because this right here, and maybe this is how it looks a little. Maybe it looks a little bit more like this. Maybe this is how it ends up happening, right? Where what kind of comparisons can we make here? God, I just want to delete all this. Where essentially this high is God damn it. Is this high. And what we need to do is actually do more of like a bullish PO3. Though this is an accumulation model, this prior bear market, so I'm getting distracted here, but chart is up by a bit. I think Coinbase had a much cleaner sweep on this, if I remember correctly, but anyways, where you have more of your manipulation range here prior to your bullish expansion. So maybe we need to form something a little bit. I'm just again, I'm talking about like we have hit this low, and the time horizon to me isn't looking big enough on a return to that low to complete a Model 1 accumulation. But it didn't do it this time either. And really, the whole reason I was pointing any of this stuff out is because this right here was so fucking boring to trade. And it was like 2 months long, and it was so fucking boring to trade. It was, I mean, liquidity levels worked like perfectly inside of that range when it happened, but it was nonetheless insanely boring to trade. So I'm going to be looking to more tokenized TradFi assets to trade during the lows of the bear market. that's what I'm going to be looking to. So there's that. And I guess that whole idea I'm proposing, where we get something that presents more like a bullish PO3 under there, I still think that theory coincides with my general theory on tether dominance, right? Because for a Model 1, if we had a Model 1 on Bitcoin, it would literally just be a purge at this low. It would probably look a little bit more like this. Purge both of those and come down and break that would complete a Model 1 on the Bitcoin chart. And that's still sensible, and so I'm still going to be watching for that. But I do love the idea of a manipulation of this larger range of price here. I really do love that idea. I really, really do love that idea. So that's another thing I'm looking for. But y'all know that. I've only said that 100 times. Too bad my XLM short stopped in profit yesterday. Or stopped at break even. If I said in profit, I'm a fucking liar. It stopped in break even. So not a clean manipulation below because you did not take out this low. But still a potential manipulation above this for a potential expansion back down here. I got to delete that. I was about to say, oh, that won't work, but I think XLM could. I believe XLM has, yeah, it could tumble here. I don't have any issue with it tumbling here. Yep. And now, if you can't tell, I am clicking random buttons to find things to talk about. So if anybody wants to give me some direction, holler at me. Yeah, I don't see anything overly interesting on this chart to talk about. But let's see if we can find something. Sol looks like it wants up. Got a 1, 2, 3. A little bit of a miniature Model 1 right here. And I would say that spring has been an effective spring. I would say that it wants targets like this. It has not mitigated this prior supply range here. So I would not be surprised to see price flowing up into here or here prior to then rolling over. Oh, I'll guess your Sol entry. I will guess your Sol entry. No, you took it before WAP. Well, I don't know. What time were you up this morning? I'm going to guess your Sol entry was no, because you're not the type to limit into an SFP. I'm feeling your Sol entry was somewhere in here. Or a retest of, I don't know if I can draw it as well as you would draw it. I don't know if you, no, I don't know if you got that really good retest there. But I'm going to guess your Sol entry somewhere in here. 67.93. You did? You did? He did do it? I'll be damned. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Man, I'm so curious. Now, yeah, I'm so curious. What what did you confirm that with? Did you confirm that with volume? You didn't confirm it with a 3 minute, or maybe you, no, you didn't confirm it with a 3 minute engulfing. What did you confirm that with? That's my only question. Dude, I love you too. It's been an absolute honor working with you as well. You gotta send me some photos of the new Casa, my dude. You gotta send me photos of the new Casa. I wonder if I have. I wonder if I have any Thailand photos on this computer. Let me check. No, no. I have all the photos I have on this computer are apparently years old. Years old. And then I'd have to get my phone out. I'd have to disable my camera because it is my. Yeah. Send me some photos, bro. I gotta send you the photos of this day we spent with elephants out in the jungle. It was so cool. We literally got to hang out with these two Asian elephants that were like, and I mean like hang out like we were just off the, like there was never any leashes, any none of this shit. We were just wandering around through the jungles with a couple of Asian elephants and got to swim with them. It was unreal. Spent all day with two incredible elephants. They're now my favorite animal. It was nuts. I'll send you some photos. What happened to my music, man? Who killed my music? What is that all about? Cool. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I really appreciate the questions, guys. On the that was really enjoyable for me to go through manipulation concepts. Um, I feel like I don't know. That was enjoyable. I feel like that was good. I feel like that was good. But if you guys don't have any more questions or ideas or things of that nature, I'm beginning to hit that point where I feel like I'm gonna not be providing very much value for your ears, and your time is the most valuable thing you have, and so I'm not looking to steal it from you. So yeah, let me know. Let me know what you got in mind, and if you don't, then let me not waste any more of your time, so you can go put it towards something that provides you more value. I got still bummed about this thing, but it's right. It's a whatever. I had a great I had a great entry on XLM yesterday, and then this little bugger stopped me at a break even. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that you felt this was a great stream. One of the concepts we were talking about on Bitcoin is beginning to present in the sense that we will have structure arriving to this high. We will have some manner of structure at least. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really cool. The only bummer about the trip was both my son and my daughter's boyfriend got terrible food poisoning. Like they got absolutely destroyed. But outside of that, the trip was excellent. Boom, 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 boom. All right, man. Yeah, no problem, Barb. And appreciate that. I super appreciate the compliments, guys. I'd love to tell you that my ego isn't fueled by them, but it is. You know what I mean? It is. I always appreciate the comments. I always appreciate the emojis. it's what inspires me to get up every day and do it again for you guys. You know what I mean? So thank you for that. Oh yeah, dude, you can't not eat street food in Thailand. It is absolutely everywhere. I'm actually convinced nobody even cooks there. Like it is ubiquitous. You could be in a town of 1,000 people and there's still 20, 30, 40 street food stands. So we ate tons of street food, and that is not what made the kids sick. No, ironically, it was a private chef we hired. That was where my son got food poisoning. And then this other resort we were staying at, we went to a restaurant that required a reservation, and that is where my daughter's boyfriend got food poisoning from. But street food, mean and clean. We got to go to street. We did this back streets Bangkok street food tour. And we went to the most crazy. You would have never been able to find these places without a tour guide. Like they were in back alleys of alleys of alleys, and they were literally like Michelin star rated street food stands, like that have earned legitimate Michelin recognition. That are just like couple stools to sit on and a couple old people that do not speak English that were just doing like crazy curries and all kinds of stuff. Man, it was wild. It was wild. What a killer Soul Trade, bro. Our dude is printing over here. All right, man. Well, let's I wish you all a great Friday. And I love you guys, and I'm rooting for you, and there's not a damn thing you'll ever be able to do about it. So enjoy your weekend, all right?
And everybody's gonna die. Everybody's gotta live. I think you know the reason why. Sometimes I go